Two, three. All right, guys. Hey, Ronin Man here. Hey, we got Harry on the line here from Australia. And last episode we talked about. I talked about actually, Harry. You haven't seen it yet because I just recorded it. But it's about fucking why I live overseas, you know. And then now we're gonna talk about how, right? So, welcome, Harry, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
How you doing, Ronin, man?
Good, man. Good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so just a 30-year-old Australian guy, kind of in a bit of a crossroad at the moment. Just kind of been on the MGTOW journey for the last kind of 2 or 3 years, I'd say, and kind of, mostly single up till I was about 27. Just got out of a kind of semi-long-term 4-year relationship. But yeah, so I kind of just on this kind of journey, like many guys around the world at the moment, and just trying to find my way through all the bullshit.
Right,
Pretty
right.
much.
Well, you fucking pumped me up, man. You fucking contacted me early, and I was like, fuck yeah, like you had so much juice, man. You're just like, I'm into this, it's fucking awesome, That was
Yeah, just at the time, it just reflected on a lot of stuff through my past, and I'm sure for a lot of other kind of younger men as well, kind of trying to figure out what the fuck's going on in society as a whole, and just trying to figure out the best kind of path or solution to have a better life.
yeah,
So
you're fucking right. It actually is confusing. Like I just did that episode on postmodernism. I don't know if you heard that one, but that one, man, I tell you, it took me fucking decades to figure that one out. Like that episode, the one where basically my best friend, who I learned, started surfing with in third grade, and like my good buddy ended up like fucking not wanting to hang out with me, and
yeah,
it was because his family they were very much on the like a lot of things that I did, like figuring life out, making decisions, logically using logic and science and like arguing things. They weren't into that. They consider that patriarchy or racist or sexist. His family, and I didn't think
yeah,
he took it seriously because we grew up and did everything together, right? But it's like in
yeah,
the end, these ideologies they affect you, man. And like I could not figure out why the fuck he didn't want to be friends anymore. And like it wasn't until I was studying for this one and I realized, oh my god, it all fell into place. He every time I would try to like convince him of something or tell him something that I had figured out, he just seemed very like not into it. I was like, well, why not? Like when me and you talk, we're like fucking figuring shit out all the time, right? We're like, no, that doesn't work or that works. It's like I tried this and we did this, and it's like we're trying to figure stuff out. Man, a lot of people like the whole feminist thing. It's all came from postmodernism, where there is no truth, there is no reality, right? So my opinion, if I tell him my opinion or my idea, basically what I'm doing is I'm telling him, in his mind, it's a power game. So one person wins, one person loses, right?
yeah.
Which is
It's
it's fucking
it's
insane to me.
Yeah, well, it's just about like convincing someone else about your own bullshit that you probably don't even believe in. Like, and for me, like personally, it was all about like religion and stuff like that. Growing up in a religious family, that was the first kind of breakthrough for me. Was kind of just thinking independently. Like not closed-minded and just kind of accepting like something for what it was.
Oh yeah, was it Christian family or?
Yeah, it was Christianity,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
so the thing was like that's surrounded by a lot of guilt and shame and fear, like fear. Ultimately, for me, it was like everyone within that religion is fearing one main thing, which is kind of going to this terrible place called hell. And
There's hell, but there's also like I think one of the most dangerous things that my Christian friends. I have a lot of friends of all different types, right? Some are serious Christian kind of guys, and like I grew up with, right? And I think the whole thing with women it's just they're the guys don't have a chance, because if you follow the church and you follow, like the way you're supposed to be as a man, you're supposed to be the patriarch of the family, right? Yeah.
You're fucked.
Yeah, you're supposed to get married.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to cheat. Outside of marriage, sex is no good. Before marriage, sex is no good. And I the only thing that saved me is there was tons of sluts in the church that I went to, and yeah, they were totally into like having sex in junior high school and high school, and that was really good. That helped me because it took a lot of pressure off.
Funny you fucking say that because I lost my virginity to a girl from church.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like it was.
Sure.
Yeah, and then probably not so long after, I dodged a massive bullet because, she was pregnant, and I was like, fuck me, like I thought it was my kid,
Oh,
but
no.
and I was quite young, so I was like, holy shit, and that could have been me, that could have been me tied up, and I knew that the guy that actually knocked her up, he was, like packing shelves at a supermarket, like not long after that, and I'm sure he'll be doing that for a long time, unless I don't know where his life is now. He might be successful in something, I'm not sure, but either way, I was kind of like looking back at my own life in the last fucking 15, 20 years even, and just going, fuck, I'm so glad that wasn't me, Like,
you just dodged a fucking bullet there. Yeah, no. Church girls,
Yeah.
The thing about Christianity that's so weird, and I know Christianity very fucking well because in high school, in junior high school, I was in a, we went to church and I actually taught Bible study and everything,
Wow.
Oh yeah, that was like a normal thing where I was grew up, it was like you join the choir and all that shit, and so like I could have gone that way, and the thing is like, man, I tell you, it's so dangerous for a guy. It's so dangerous, the church, because it's run by women, right? The whole reason why they go to church on Sunday is to wear nice dresses, and to dress up. The church is religion is for men, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
The women just kind of like their thing is like the kids and all that, right? And they use the church to educate, but basically, like, it's all about the men giving the church money, the men working, the men supporting the women, the men not cheating on the women, the men building a house, the men getting a car, the men making sure the kids go to school, men making sure the kids go to church, the men paying for the church camps. Like, that's what it's really about.
I never really thought about it like that, but now that you break it down, like, it's very much like programming like men to be the provider.
Yeah. Oh, that's what the whole thing is, man. At least where I grew up, that was definitely like the clear thing. And like, when are you gonna put a ring on it, right? When are you gonna, because if you didn't get married if you had a girlfriend for more than like say 6 months a year, everybody secretly knew you were having sex by then, and so then it was kind of like you were kind of bad, like you were on the way out, you had to put a ring on it, otherwise everybody disapproved of you,
Yeah, it was just amazing, like, I'm not sure if you had this, but like even just like the whole guilt thing as well, like if you were, like, obviously when you're young, you just like, you're trying things sexually with like women, or even if you were trying to like masturbate, like jerk yourself off, like it was weird, man. It was that programming gets in there at such a young age that even if you want to like, choke the chicken, so to speak. You feel really bad about it, like you're like, fuck, I just did that. I just wanked myself off, and now I'm gonna go to hell,
Yeah,
something bad's gonna happen.
I really, oh man, I was so embarrassed. When I was, I don't know what age I was probably, I don't know, somewhere between like 12, 13, 14 or something, and I had this rag that I used, right? I would jerk off and I would use this one rag, and I hid it between my mattresses, right? Because I didn't know what to do with it. I was so young, right? And then one day I looked under the mattress and it was gone. And I looked
No.
closer and it was there, but it had been washed and folded. So what happened was my mom had figured it out. Yeah, and then she had washed it and folded and put it back for me, right? And
Yeah.
I was so fucking embarrassed. Oh my god. I never
Oh.
used that again. Oh man. Because it's one thing you're going to hell, but then also like your mom knows and she knows you're going it's like all fucked up, It's like
Yeah.
you don't need any more pressure when you're growing up. Like that's the last thing you need is like more sex pressure.
Yeah. And like, yeah, besides like the church and all that kind of shit, like, um, not only have you got like religion and stuff, but again, touching on society, you've just got this like, I don't know, like obviously every country's maybe different, but in Australia anyway, like it was society's just got that dogmatic approach to like maybe who you should be, what you should be fucking doing, how you should be living your life, and if you're not in that, if you're not fitting the norm, like you're constantly kind of like maybe seen as that the outsider, or and like not that I've ever given too much of a fuck about that, but for anyone out there that doesn't maybe have the highest self-esteem, or like younger men, fuck, they must find it pretty hard.
Oh, I think it influences even us. I think even guys who are stronger and stuff, it still influences us. We are,
Yeah.
I mean, human beings, we ping off other people. And like, maybe we don't go along with it, but we feel bad. And that influences, how we live our life, right? As opposed
Yeah.
to if we were getting a lot of kudos and our friends are high-fiving and we're fucking having a good time, that's totally different, right? Than being looked down upon and then fighting against it, right? It's a lot of wasted energy, What really reminded me of that so much is when I was home visiting my family recently, and there was a guy down the street and he had all these fancy like old cars out front, like Model Ts and shit. So we started talking, and it was kind of interesting because I don't talk to many people from back home anymore, because I'm never there. But I was talking to him, and I didn't know him, but apparently my parents knew him because they walked their dog by him, and so I was talking to him, and then the guy said he said something that really like woke me up to what it's like to live in the States or California. Like he goes, this guy drove by, right, and he's like, oh, that guy. He goes, that's a good guy. He goes, that guy there, I see him every morning at 7 o'clock driving by here, and you see him every night at like 7, 8 at night. He's a good man. That guy's a good guy. And I thought, and I realized later this guy didn't even know this guy, right?
Yeah.
And what he respected him for was the fact that he went to work early and came home late. Like that's what a good guy is in California. Like think
Yeah, but
about that.
That's fucking shit. Like I if I'm not passionate about what I'm doing as far as work goes, fuck no. Like I don't want to be somewhere for 12 or 13 hours a day doing something I fucking hate.
Yeah, it was amazing to me because I haven't had a job like pretty much my whole life. So I'm thinking, fuck, I'm glad I better not tell this guy what I'm up to because like he will definitely think I'm a fucking total loser, right? And I don't need to have that. Some dude on my
Or just even that fucking I think you did an episode on like the male jealousy thing, like when another male kind of can see that you're doing really, really well when you're like, maybe not putting as much effort in as he is, like
oh man,
that can start a fucking shitstorm too, eh?
oh yeah, jealousy, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like at the same, it's interesting you say that because what that brought up to me is another guy back home who I grew up with, who we're still friends today, but he's a Christian, really hardcore Christian, right? But he knows about all the women I fucked because I've known this guy since we're like, fifth grade, right? And so every time he talks about it, he's the only guy who talks about it. Because these days I'm not out there playing, I'm just basically living my life, cruising around. I'm not really that interested. But he remembers everything, right? All the girls, all the stories, everything, right? And he's so jealous that he brings it up every time I go home. And even though he's a good friend, I know he's seriously jealous of that because he's been a hardcore Christian his whole life, so he's only had a few girls, maybe 3 or 4 women. Meanwhile, I was doing like, a lot. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and they were hotter and everything, right? So he's jealous, and I know that. And it's like, man, that's a hard thing to deal with. Yeah, no, it's Christians, they might follow their path, but they can really be dangerous too, as like cock blocking, jealous, mangina guys, right?
Yeah, big time. And again, it always comes back to the guilt, like the guilt of, like, for some weird fucking reason thinking that something really terrible is going to happen to them just because they might have slept with, a few extra women or something.
Dude, this guy's a cool guy too. He's a good surfer. He's a fucking cool guy. Like, he should have been like pounding the chicks,
Yeah, just get the job done, like if you want to tick some of that off the list, just get it done.
Oh yeah, that's why I tell the guys, like, I know like a lot of MGTOWs are really against, they're everybody's learning, right? It's an onion. We're peeling the onion. We're trying to figure out the fuck's going on, right? But a lot of young guys are angry, and they're saying basically like, I'm going to stay away from women. And I think it's fine if you're in your 50s, if that's what you want to do, But if you're in your 20s, like, I think a lot of guys in their 20s and 30s don't realize that you're not going to be that age the rest of your life. Is that it's going to be over, right? And the thing is, when you get older, your body changes, and society looks at you differently, and you have different responsibilities, and just shit is just different, and girls act different to older guys. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's like a dark future. I'm just saying it's different. It is different, and your body's different. So if you don't fucking pound a lot of chicks in your 20s and 30s, you're out of your mind, because you're not going to be able to do that again. You're like, it's going to change. Shit's going to change. So don't miss out on that opportunity. If you can go and fuck a bunch of girls, like, just fucking do it. Don't make any commitments.
I think maybe a lot of younger dudes, like even myself, you might get that confusion between thinking that, like, you have to go on fucking Tinder or some fucking, like, app to get laid and all that kind of shit. Like, you can kind of do it anyway, which suits you. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a dude that just wants to kind of cruise, not go on fucking Tinder or any of those other apps, just fucking have the confidence to meet a girl during the day at yoga, at fucking somewhere social, and just talk some shit. You know what I mean? Like, and if you made for me, if I made a cool chick, and she doesn't seem like too much of a drama, she still doesn't necessarily validate my life or like add this amazing purpose to my life. But if she's a cool human being and she's not going to cause any fucking dramas in my life, then I don't see too much of an issue with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's a physical release, and it feels good. And I think one thing people don't realize, there's a really good TED Talk right now, and it's basically they did the largest study of happiness ever. And what they found was the number one thing was people that are happy have a lot of relationships with other human beings. And so if you hate half the population and avoid them, that's not a good place to start as far as having a lot of relationships, right? It's okay to deal with chicks. It's okay to have chicks in your life. Yesterday I was out with this friend of mine from Tokyo, and he had his sister, and I almost fucked her actually, but she ended up leaving. But she was into it. It was quite interesting. She was Indian. It was quite interesting, from India, and I liked the way she looked actually. But it's okay. It's relationships and life itself. Don't run away from life. I go my own way. I mean, I am so independent. I am such a fucking rock to the girls. They cannot change me. It just will not happen, right? But at the same time, it's okay to pound them, right? It's fine, right? It's cool. A lot of chicks I don't even fuck. They like me because they know I fuck other girls, so that kind of turns them on, right? They want to talk to me and stuff, and that's cool. I want to, they want to hang around. It's fine, It's
Yeah.
I've had girls teach me a lot of important things. You know, I have tons and tons of guy friends, and I consider guy friends number one. But I mean, there have been some interesting, situations with women over the years. So don't don't be hating too much. Don't ostracize yourself. You know, stay involved in life. You know, stay involved. You know, remember
Yeah,
that there's
I think.
always shit that you got to do. But let's get on to the question because today we're going to
Yeah,
talk
cool.
about the topic.
I was just gonna touch on that last subject
Oh
because
yeah,
like throughout my kind of like journey through all like the MGTOW stuff and listening to a lot of other content on YouTube and stuff, I think the big decider in regards to that whole kind of the female side of things was that there are a lot of content producers out there kind of like preaching the female hate kind of stuff, or like kind of I don't know what you'd fucking call it, but for me there's kind of like maybe two main segments, which is men that have had a good life. There's men out there that have had a single life, that bachelor life, they're financially free, they're fucking killing it, and they're having a good time. And then you've got other men on the other side of the scale that are kind of bitter. They've been run through that divorce court system, and they've had a fucking, a nightmare with women, So there's kind of, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that those guys are producing content. For me, it's actually a really fucking good thing because
sure.
I look at all the signs, and I'm like, oh, that's where I don't want to be in 10, 20 years, And but I really appreciate those people as well because at least they are putting out real stuff still.
Sure, sure. You know, yesterday I met a guy. One of his girlfriend does yoga with me, and I had never met him, but he came yesterday, and we started talking. And I told him about Ronin Man because the guy who does the yoga is a fucking totally cool guy, and he knows about it. And so we ended up talking. The guy is a cool guy, right? So we started talking
Yeah.
about it, about MGTOW and stuff, and then he wants to listen, but he said, you know something? He says he pays, get this, he pays $5,000 a month to his ex-wife,
Yeah, fuck
for the
that.
rest of his life.
Yeah.
He's got 8 kids, and it's $5,000 a month for the rest of his life.
Man, I don't
California.
even make $5,000 a month at the moment.
Well, that's the
Fuck.
thing. In Asia, $5,000 after tax. That means you got to make a solid 885 just to pay her, right? You
Yeah.
know, and then plus what your own life. So you got to make like, and that's not for 1 year. That's for the rest of his life. So, man, I was listening to him and I was just like so sad, So I really hope that
What
these
what do
podcasts
you
can.
do? Like, what do you do in that situation? Like, are you better off going fucking bankrupt, selling like, yeah, going bankrupt, and just fucking getting on welfare or something, or starting all over again? What do you do in that situation?
It really depends on the guy. I don't want to give advice because it's legal advice kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think that I could say what have guys done in the past. Some guys disappear. They go
Yeah.
rogue, right? And they just fucking just take their own money and disappear. Other guys pay the rest of their life. Other guys, like you said, they purposely don't succeed in life. Because they have this hanging over their head. There is no easy solutions. And that's why like marriage is so fucked. Like it's really serious. Like this MGTOW shit is no joke. Like you're really better off not getting married. You're really, 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 really better off. Like, don't even fucking think about it. And
Yeah, I don't.
yeah, stay single because the price can be so high. You can get lucky too. I know guys who've gotten divorced and they didn't have to give their wife anything. So this guy's pretty extreme, but it's I can't really tell this guy what to do, but he looked at me once he realized like I had a channel and he knew like I was telling a lot of good advice. He said, I want to hear what you think, And the thing
Yeah.
is the reason why most guys don't really have any options is here's the reason why. here's the biggest thing about getting married and having kids is the thing is that most men are pretty fucking human, right? So once you got kids, it's like you want to make sure they have money, right? You don't want to
no
fucking,
doubt.
that's the thing is you don't want them to be hungry. So even though you want to fucking maybe they want to kill their wife or something, you know what I mean? But they can't,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They want to fucking, blast her with a fucking laser or something, but they can't. And then the kids need food, so they just bite the bullet and do it. So,
Well, I personally, like, deep down think that, like, most men that actually have kids love their kids, Like, I don't think that they'd see many of them as kind of mistakes or anything.
right,
And,
right.
I personally, like, don't want kids because I love fucking waking up and just going, well, what the fuck do I want to do today?
Right.
It's good, man. It's like, it's freedom. So.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing is like, what could he do and what could he do because he's a man are different. He could just disappear. I met a couple guys. I met two guys in my life, and I could not believe it. They told me the truth about their life, and get this: they had a family, and one day, they just went out for a pack of smokes and never came back.
Yeah.
So they had like a wife and kids, and everything's good and happy, and they just went out shopping or something and never came back. And I know I've known two guys like that in my life, and they told me the story, and I was like, "Fuck!" Like a cold fucking wind went through my veins, because I just thought
that's
about
pretty hardcore, eh?
it's and then they had other families with other women. They changed their name and everything, just disappeared from the country, and yeah, they went to other countries. Both of them, both those two guys, and
I'm not laughing because that's right, but I'm laughing because in a weird way, I find it fucking amusing.
It's crazy. It's like a book or something, but that's some guys are like that. So I mean, it depends on you. I'm not going to judge, but everybody's got a different way of looking at life. So I don't know what that guy's going to do, but I'm going to talk to him again, and we'll see what kind of options. Because $5,000 a month in Asia is totally unfucking reasonable. That's $5,000 a month after tax. That's more than 99% of Asians make. That's an insane amount of money. I mean, insane.
Oh, you're living. You can live off $5,000 pretty much, like, for about 6 to 12 months easy in Asia, right?
I mean, it depends on where you live. It really depends on where you live. So that's the topic today is like living overseas and like making money and stuff like that. So hit me with your questions, yeah?
Yeah, okay. So, I guess, it's pretty kind of broad, but I think the first question, my situation at the moment is kind of around, 30K in debt, so I'm kind of kicking things off again and starting over. Had a couple of experiences in the past couple of years that set me a little bit back, but moving forward, how would you go about prioritizing your day to kind of get back on track and kind of make some progress in regards to getting out of debt?
Right. Well, I mean, there's two ways, right? One is to go bankrupt, and the other one is to pay it off, right? What is your feeling on that?
Well, I'm in the position where I will be able to pay it off quite quickly, quite soon. That's not to say that the question isn't relevant, because I'm sure there's kind of a lot of younger dudes out there that are in debt and kind of suffering a bit financially.
Okay, so you can pay it off, yeah.
Yeah. I can pay it off, which is kind of what I am gonna do anyway. But I think not so much like just debt, but kind of life after being in debt. So making progress and kind of just, I don't know, fucking.
The two things I did, or there's a couple things that really helped me a lot. There was two good books I read. One was The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. That's a fucking great book. Should definitely get that book. It's real easy read. And the other one is The Wealthy Barber.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And those two books, I read them over and over and over and over, and I underlined and read them again and again. And they're probably available on YouTube. You can probably just listen to them. They're probably like audiobooks on YouTube or online. But those books gave me a basic understanding of how to get out of debt, how to save money, how to think about my life. And the other thing that was really good for me, was I did two things. I wrote down everything that I spent. So this is before cell phones. So I had a notepad, right? And I gotta let you know, I'm not the kind of guy who does these kind of things. Like, how everybody like writes goals and they do all these things. I fucking don't do any of that shit. So I mean, I'm not like the kind of write down kind of guy. Like, this was very, very rare for me, and it was very, very powerful. So I highly recommend it. Basically, every single thing that you buy, okay, put it in your cell phone. So get like a ledger, maybe get an app or whatever, accounting or whatever, or just put it in a like Simple Note. Get a Simple Note app, and then just write down every fucking thing. That's the best way. Simple Note's great, by the way. Get Simple Notes free, and then just write down every single thing that you buy. So write down 15 cents, stick of gum, fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
$2 soap, write down everything that you spend money on, and then do it for about 3 months. Okay. It takes like 2 seconds, right? And then go back and review that. And this is not going to be the solution to life. I mean, it's not going to be like, you're going to wake up with $1 million, in your underwear or something, But you will have a whole different view on your life. I guarantee you. I'll give you an idea of what I came up with. So I realized after I wrote things down is that I spent a significant portion, like, I don't know what it was. I don't remember the exact percentage, but it was like, let's say 35% of my the money that I spent was going out to lunch and dinner with this particular social club that I was involved in. And the thing is dinner was not part of our meetings. So I could just go to the meeting and then go home, right? I didn't have to go to dinner. I was just kind of doing it because it was easy. And the thing is, in Tokyo, everything's expensive, and I was spending quite a bit of money going to dinner with these people. And when I wrote it down and I looked at it, I said, wait a second, 35% of my expenses are going to this fucking dinners and lunches with these guys. And then I realized, like, one, I don't like them that much, right? And then two, the food is like not the kind of food that I want to eat. It's not the places that they went weren't the places I chose to go, right? And then the three, I said, maybe there's another option. So I went back to the meeting, and when the meeting ended, everybody said, oh, you're going to go to this place, I said, hey, you guys, I want to save money. I'm not going to go to this place ever again. So if anybody wants to hang out, let's go meet some chicks, and let's go fucking walk down the street and meet some sluts or get some food or whatever from the convenience store. And then out of the whole group, like, there's like 30 or 40 people would go, right? But there was like two guys who were totally into it. They were like, fuck yeah. They were like, that's awesome. Because they actually were in the same situation. They were spending money that they didn't have. I actually had the money. It was no problem. But they were spending money they didn't have to go to these dinners and these lunches. And they were and they were like looking for a solution, but nobody could think of one. And so I started taking the guys, and then it was like there was a lot of social pressure actually not to do this. Every time after the meeting, they're like, come on, why don't you guys just come this time? Is it that important? Yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. No, I'm not going there. I'm not going to fucking do it. It's the winter, right? It's like snowing, right? And I'm like, not going to go. Because once I decide something, I'm going to do it, right? I'm not going to fucking...
Yeah, it's funny you say that, actually. Like, I think in the Western world, like Australia, America, or wherever, it's like, that fucking social pressure, like, even if it's because Australia is, like, it's fucking definitely a drinking culture here, like,
right.
Fucking gotta go have beers with the boys, like, But it's just money's going out the door. You know, it's not necessarily coming in all the time. It's going out. You know,
Right.
so
Right. And it's not
it's
even like the way you want it to go out, right? Like you might be totally happy.
I'm not a big drinker anyway. So like for me, it's fucking pointless. Like I just think, well, you know, if I'm gonna have a drink, I might have a red wine or something. But drinking like beer all the fucking time, I just don't. I don't see the point to it really at the moment.
There you go. There you go. The goal of writing this shit down is not to change your life. It's to find those one or two things that you're doing that you don't want to do, and cutting those out and being like really logical about it, and like deciding something and having a fucking backbone, and realizing and understanding why you're not going to do it and how much it's costing you, and then thinking about it. Like I found out once I thought about it, it was really funny. I cannot believe I did not see it until I wrote it down. But get this, you won't even believe this, but it's true. The guys that I would go out with, it was usually like say 60% women, and they were, most of them were like overweight teachers in Japan or like some government employee or whatever, and they basically didn't like me because they knew I was pounding tons of chicks. So there was these overweight girls who were going to this social group that I liked, and which is fine. It's fine if they come, you know. But once we got out of the group and we were like talking about normal things, like I would be looking over at other girls. I'd be like joking like about sex, joking about like fucking guy things, right? Well, those women didn't like it. So once I cut that out of my life, it improved my life in every single way. And like my friends that came with me, like they never forgot it. They're like, I'm so grateful you got us out of that group because it was stupid expensive. Like, get this. One of my friends went into debt 60,000 Canadian dollars because he went out with these people to eat all the time.
Yeah, is that are you saying that it was expensive because you were in a group with overweight women, or
No, because well, okay, what I'm saying is like the conversation
and
sucked.
they love to eat, or
The conversation sucked. So it wasn't just the food. It was like once I wrote it down and I saw how much I was spending and wasting. Okay, that was one. So one thing once I thought about it, I realized that the conversation sucked anyway. Like I didn't want to be with them. I'd rather be on the street, you know, fucking around with my friends, right? And then so that was one thing that came out of it. And the other thing is that they were going to very expensive restaurants and wasting a lot of money, and it was stupid. Because I personally don't care about it. I grew up, I got a lot of rich friends, right? And I got a lot of poor friends. So I've been to every expensive and poor place you can imagine, right? So nothing impresses me. Like, I don't need any more steaks. I don't need any more hand jobs. You know what I mean? Like, none of this expensive food does not give me wood. You know? Like, I like what I like, which is healthy food. Vegetables. I love, you know what I mean? I love like...
You can still eat really well for fucking not too much, you know?
That's right. And it's not even the amount of money. It's like when you go to these expensive restaurants, they don't even have good food. It's all covered in fucking sauces, and you know what I mean? Everybody's having like a sweet drink, and there's fucking desserts, and you know, it's not good for you. Most restaurants serve bullshit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
like,
it's good on the eyes, hey. It's good on the eyes.
Yeah, I like fucking raw garlic, turmeric, olive oil, fucking eggplant, spinach, pumpkin, nuts, seeds. You know what I mean? I like fucking sweet potatoes. You know, I like spirulina, which is basically like a type of a seaweed. You know, I like healthy shit, right? I want to be healthy. I want to have a good life, you know. So what these fat ladies were eating wasn't even good. The conversation wasn't good. I was spending way more than I wanted to. And when I cut it out, I felt so much better about myself. And actually helped a lot of my friends. So that's why you want to write stuff down, because you're looking for those one or two things where you're wasting money on stuff. And it's going to surprise you. Even you, man. Harry, it's going to surprise you. You're going to write it down. You're going to be like, because what you do is when you see the numbers, you're going to be like, you know, do I care about this thing number one in my life? You know, is it really that important? And you're going to be like, no, fuck that. You know, and this fucking thing doesn't mean number one in my life. Like, what about all my friends? What about this? What about, fuck all this, So you'll make changes. And the combination of reading about how to make money long term and how to save money, and it's very masculine, right? I mean, women are the ones that go out and spend money and throw money down the shitter and don't remember it. Us men, fuck that, man. We got to earn it, right? So, being a man about your money is really important, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think in like the way that the world is today, like with this like gynocentric society, do you think it's much easier for a woman to kind of make money now? Like, this kind of, because that's the emergence of kind of this innovative like career woman, like this kind of engineered, I don't know, like I'm not saying that there aren't intelligent women out there, because obviously there are, but and entrepreneurial women, but it seems kind of socially engineered that like a woman can create some kind of like fucking shitty little fashion brand label, and then just because she's got a couple of connections, she ends up making shitloads of cash because she's got like a good ass and tits. And,
yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, so it kind of like that unfair advantage for me. Like I'm not saying I'm trying to compete with that. I don't really give a fuck about that, but I do see that there is that kind of inconvenient truth there now, like that women kind of get a foot up quite easy.
Oh, dude. When I first moved to Japan, right? I was trying to get like a job, right? And I was having a real hard time getting a job, like a good job. I was really not easy. And a lot of my friends said, oh, it's easy, but it wasn't. It was back in like 1990. It still wasn't easy. And it was good times back then. But it took time for me to get a good job. And all my friends that were girls, they'd just be sitting in a fucking coffee shop, and then some girl would come up to them and talk about leaving Japan. And she would introduce her. And the next thing you know, this fat new chick in town would be teaching at the university, which is one of the best jobs you can have, in Japan for a foreigner. And she'd be getting like $90,000 a year, summers off, Like, women help other women. Like, they don't help men. Men don't help men, and women don't help men. So men have to do it themselves. Women help other women. I'll tell you this, expat groups, man, women fucking hand jobs out to other women. And guys do not do it. And it's fucked. It is fucked. I don't do that. When I leave a good job, I always give it to a guy. I always do. I call my friend. I say, look, I'm leaving this job. I want to give you the best chance of getting it. Here's my boss's name. Here's the client's name, or whatever it is that I'm giving them, an opportunity to make money through business or a job or whatever. And I'll just give them a sweet in so that they don't have to, grind it out like I had to get the job, right? So I think
I just can't imagine like in the corporate kind of landscape that women kind of, I don't know, like are they as productive as fucking men that actually give a fuck about what they're trying to achieve? And I'm sure the percentage of women aren't like, it's not that high that they're really compelled to do well. I don't know.
Well, I think.
Am I wrong?
well, the way I look at it is this way: is like we are all fallible human beings, right?
Yeah.
So the reason why we do stuff is because we have to. So the reason why we evolved to be so intelligent and dexterous hands and able to think and move and quick reactions is because if we didn't, we got eaten or we got killed, right?
Yeah.
So everything was based on necessity that brought us to this point. And
survivalism, eh?
Yeah, it's survival. So the reason why we do stuff is because it's survival. So ever since the 70s, they've been setting up like situations where women can get easier jobs and easier in school and easier this and money from the government that. And it just made it easier. And so you can't really blame it on women. I mean, if they did that for guys, guys would be lazy too, So I think the fact that the system is set up to give women an advantage is, like, it's easy for a woman to get a CEO job now because they're always cleaning out the guys and they're putting women in, right? In the name of diversity, right? So, guys have to earn the job. And 2 podcasts ago, I talked about an Australian study. I don't know if you read that, you heard that one, but I talked about how they were doing a study about how to create diversity in the workforce, and they took men and women off the resumes, male, female, and they thought, well, what would happen is that more women would get jobs because their theory was that women were being discriminated against. When they took male, female off the resumes, more men got jobs. So that means that guys are like way better, and they're being discriminated against in Australia.
Yeah, big time.
Right, and so that's without the name on there, without the sex on there. With the sex on there, it's kind of worse because there's laws in place that you have to have this many women and that many, different this and different that. So it's just completely fucked. I mean, guys are just getting fucked right and left. So because guys have to work harder to succeed, they naturally are going to provide more value, right? And then also because of the social structure where guys have to pay for babies, and guys have to pay for the family, naturally guys will be willing to do shit, right? So I've done sales my whole life, like every type of business development and sales. I've never had a woman beat me in my whole life in sales. Like, I can say that for a fact. I've never, ever. I've been beaten by a man, and I always fight it out because I want to be number one when I'm selling, I'm very, I really I love sales. I'm very competitive when it comes to business. But a woman has never beaten me in sales, ever. And
you wouldn't allow it, would you?
No. I mean, if a woman, no. Don't get me wrong. If a woman was really good, okay, like you look at Madame Curie, right, and her scientific achievements, that's totally fine with me. If a woman was really good in sales, I wouldn't take it personally. I don't give a fuck, actually. But it just never even happened. It's never even come close. So usually I have to pay my own bills. No one's going to help me. I don't have a rich family. I have to do it myself, and so, I'm forced to do it, and I'm forced to find jobs that I'm good at, and sales is one of them. So, that's where I ended up, so women don't have as much pressure on them is the main thing. I think if women had the same amount of pressure, I don't see why they couldn't, over the generations rise to the challenge, but they have an easy ride.
Yeah, definitely. And this kind of led into the next question, just because we're talking about kind of career stuff. So, what skills are worth developing now that we live in a digital age? Because we're obviously there's still traditional style jobs like construction, mining, and hospitality, and heaps of other traditional style industries, but what kind of skills would you recommend that are worth developing in the new world, I guess, because that's where it's heading, hey?
Right. Well, there's such a diversity of people listening that I can't, because everybody's such a different age, and different, like young guys can learn programming easier than older guys, right? From scratch.
I guess to be a bit more specific,
is
a lot of younger guys, especially on the kind of MGTOW journey. I think if you're seeking that freedom, would it be wise to say that you're going to be kind of chasing something like freelancing or something that you can do while you're traveling,
Right. That freelancing is a good option because you don't have to. I talked about in the episode today. Actually, I talked about I met a guy the other day. He came to visit me from China, and he's making $30 an hour teaching English by Skype to children in China, and it only costs $700 a month to live here. So he can teach 24 hours a month. And it's not even considered teaching. I mean, he's just basically talking to kids on the phone, and for 24 hours a month, and he can pay his bills in China, in Thailand. So,
Yeah.
there's a lot of options like that. I think what you want to do is not so much blindly study anything. You want to look at all the ways that people are paying for stuff, like who's getting paid for doing stuff and what is that thing. And then you have to look at, is this something that I want to do, right? Because it has to be something that you don't mind doing. Like, this guy loves kids. He doesn't mind talking to kids on Skype. So he loves it because it's easy for him, right? It's enjoyable. 24 hours a month, fucking bills paid. He can bone some chicks and have fun, right? He's all good, so he's totally free, right? I mean, 24 hours a fucking month, dude. That's like 6 hours a week, I mean,
Yeah,
that's...
I don't want to work more than that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'd be happy to, I've worked hard in my life before and happy to do it again. I'm not shy of hard work, but work smarter, right?
Yeah, no, there's all kinds of jobs like that, and you just want to like start ticking off these type of jobs. I was thinking of writing a book with a list of all these jobs, and then selling it, because there's just just a bunch of jobs that you could do overseas that would pay the bills. Because there are a lot of jobs that you can do now from a distance. One thing that you could do if you're an employee, which you're not, but if somebody was an employee, right, is, I told a friend of mine to do this and it worked out for him, is basically he was getting, I don't remember the exact number, let's just say $100,000 a year, right, to work in California. And I told him his boss was going to move him divisions, blah, blah, blah. They were doing a lot of changes. And I said to him, I said, look, why don't you tell your boss, because he was really good at his job and he didn't have to visit clients. So I said, look, tell your boss that you'll work for $60,000 and do the same job from the Philippines. And he told his boss, and the boss ended up negotiating him down to like 55, but he's paying him 55. He's living in the Philippines. He's saving like all the money. You know what I mean? Because it costs nothing to live there, right? And he's saving way more money than he was back home. He's boning like tons of hot chicks. He spends most of his time on the beach in Boracay, and he's got a respectful job and solid money. And also, because his salary went down from 100 to 55, there's no way he's going to get fired, right? His boss is like super solid, rock solid job now, But in the Philippines, he's rich as fuck, right? He's like fucking king, he's like a king, So there's a lot of options that you can do once you realize the options and you can present them to people, and then just say, look, would you like that done? And then people will be like, would I like getting the same amount of work for $45,000? Yes, I would, And his boss was quite happy with that. So there's that kind of thing. There's a lot of guys who write and get paid for it. So they write, they that's what they do. They write. So they write for a blog, and they pay them, $30 an article or whatever. And then that guy, again, he only needs to write 24 articles a month in order to live in Thailand. And my friend, he can write 3 articles a day, So, he can do all his work in just a few days, and then he's done for the month, work-wise, money-wise. So, you want to find all these things that you want to go to people who are paying people more money, and you want to say, look, would you pay me to do this if you could pay me, 60% of what you're paying here? I'll do it from the Philippines. I'll do it from Thailand. I'll do it from Malaysia, whatever. And just start talking to people, because you'd be surprised. Small business owners, they like that shit,
Yeah, maybe you should bring out that like a MGTOW career guidebook or something. I'd fucking buy it.
Okay, cool.
If it saves me the time of because obviously I'm not super lazy, but if someone else has the knowledge and then compacted that into like a small guide or whatever and had links to all the different places that you could apply with, that's fucking awesome, like saves people time. That's valuable. I'd pay for it,
Yeah, it's more than that. Like, I actually have experience, like I know stuff that probably other people don't know, like businesses that you can start overseas where you can have a nice little business where you're not really paying that much tax, or if you don't want to, nothing. and you're getting paid cash. And there's a lot of deals out there, and there's a lot of countries that really don't give a fuck. The world is a big place. I think a lot of people think that the world is all the same. It's like no matter where I go, this can't happen. But it's not true. It's not true. There's a lot of countries where they're just happy to have you spending money. They don't give a fuck.
I think that definitely that's like some good advice for any younger kind of guys out there trying to figure all this shit out is don't just fucking give up. Don't give up on the idea of freedom and kind of more or less finding yourself and just kind of selling out to this bullshit where you've got to, like, if you want to have a family or something or whatever, I'm not saying don't do any of those things, but just have a real good fucking think about it all, like don't just dive in head first. And because there in Australia in particular, and I'm sure in all the other Western countries, there's a lot of consequences for certain choices, eh?
Oh yeah, dude. I had a friend, really smart German guy, and he was the funniest fucking guy. We used to go and pick up chicks together, right? And I thought he was single, right? But one time he told me, he said, "Oh, I have a wife and kid." I was like, "No way." I was like, "Where the fuck are they?" And he's like, it was like a poor country, right? So he had this girl that he knocked up, and he would go visit her like every 3 months, and he sent her $100 a month, and that was enough to cover the baby and the husband, wife, and she was totally happy. And then he would go there once every 3 months, and he was daddy, daddy's home, daddy's home. He'd bring his $100 a month, and he was able to fuck his wife and like play with the kid, take pictures, and then go back to Tokyo. And it only cost him $100 a month. And his wife I saw the picture. She was actually pretty hot. So I think that when I saw that, I'm like, this fucking motherfucker's smart, like because she was happy. She was totally happy. The kid was happy. Her parents were happy, and he was happy. So I mean, like he I know guys who pay like that guy who pays $5,000 a month, and he's not even fucking happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he doesn't get any sex at all, and he's scared to death of not being able to make the payments. And there's a lot of guys who their wives are so fat and ugly they can't even imagine fucking them, And then this guy has some little sweetie pie that rides on his cock when he goes over there, and a kid calling him daddy. I mean,
yeah. See that like, not that I'm interested in having kids, but that to me makes way more fucking sense. Is like going over to like Asia or one of these kind of Eastern countries and like having a kid to someone like that doesn't expect too much from you, and what you give them they're fucking happy about, and everyone's winning, and you're like, fuck, what a great life, if that's what you wanted.
Yep. And not only that, get this, when she was pregnant, she couldn't fuck him, so she told him to fuck her best friend. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, because in her country, I'm not going to say where this is or who this guy is, but her country, basically, like, they knew that the guy was going to cheat if he didn't have sex. So she said, well, I know you need sex, so, like, just fuck my sister while I'm pregnant, And that was the common thing. And so he did.
Yeah. Yeah, wow. Yeah, see, that, like, this is shit that you just don't hear about, like if you were caught doing that shit in society over here in Australia, like, you're fucked, man. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that people have done that kind of shit here in Australia, but, like, it's just like the acceptance and the character assassination that you'll get after it,
Oh man, he got nothing but love, She was all happy and everything was good.
That's cool, man. No one got hurt. No one's got like any weird feelings towards it all. So it's like, whatever, man.
No, this was the thing.
Life is strange.
Yeah, this was the thing in her culture, So it was to her totally normal. It was just like for you, putting on socks with shoes, It's like, you always put socks on with shoes. A woman gets pregnant, then he has to fuck some girl. So, you get somebody to fuck her that you trust, and like,
Well, that I guess that in a sense, that's what like prostitution's all about, right? Because all the oh, I don't know if that's the main reason, but I'm sure it has something to do with it. Like if there's dudes that are, you know, obviously can't even have sex with that wife that they're unattracted to or whatever, so they end up just banging prostitutes. Like,
Yeah, the thing is, there's a
what's
lot
the
of,
difference?
you know, like we talked about before, I'm not into prostitutes, but hey, man, there's a lot of options out there, and there's nothing wrong with any of them, you know. And so
Yeah.
the thing about, you know, to be to have a cool life and a fucking good life, you have to get out there and meet a lot of guys who are living outside the box, and there's going to be people in situations that are going to be uncomfortable for you, but that's what you need. That's the way you're going to see something new. You're going to learn something new. You're going to find out that there's other things to do, you know, and
Yeah.
and they can be really good, you know. It's like, I'm not saying that this is not the one example that's going to be what every other podcast is going to go do, but once you know that these other models exist, they're pretty good. And I'll tell you one other example was, there was a guy, he was paying for the girl's university, right? And then basically her university was like, let's see, like $1,600 a year for the university. And where she was from, she couldn't afford to pay for university. And so she couldn't go to university. So basically the girls in her city, basically none of them went to school after high school. And so what this guy did is he paid for her school, and then she was his girlfriend while she was in school. So for 4 years, from 18 to 22, he fucked her once a month or whatever, once every 2 weeks. And then he paid $1,600 a year for her school. And he got a fucking 18-year-old sweet girl, and she was stoked, and he was stoked, and her family was stoked that she got to go to school. And she was his boyfriend, you know, during those 4 years. And she always made herself available when he was free, and, you know, worked out quite nice, you know. So there's options out there that are just crazy, because if, you know, anybody could say any kind of shit they want, but that girl would not have gotten an education if it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
There was nobody else giving her money. There's nobody else doing it, right? And he helped her to go to school. And again, I'm not saying, this is just an example to get your mind thinking. I'm not saying this is the goal, or, you know, it's all about money and you get sex. No, fuck all that. I don't pay for sex. I don't pay anything. Girls give me sex for free. I never pay. But everybody's different, and some guys, that is the best option, right? Because you are paying. You guys back home are paying for sex whether you like it or not. You know,
well,
I'm not, but you guys are.
There's different forms of payment, you know, and it's like,
yeah,
even if you're going down to the beach for a day to hang out with some chick, to talk some shit, like, that's your time, you know. And like, regardless, like, if it's 4 hours on the beach with that chick talking shit, like, that's 4 hours that you could have been making money doing some other shit. I don't know.
That's right. And if she's not very interesting to talk to, you know, you're wasting your boring conversation, and she might have a VD, and she might, you know.
Yeah, and then it's like, you might be paying in like psychological ways, like emotional, like fucking relationship. Even though you're not even a relationship with her, she might be talking shit about some other guy with you, or I don't know. Fuck, there's, like you said, you're paying, like.
Yeah, she could be getting pregnant from another guy and trying to get you to raise the kid. She could be stealing your password. She could be, you know, all kinds of things, man. She could, you know, women can do all kinds of evil things and fuck your life up, man.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. Like.
Oh man, they can be so evil. Women can be so evil to men. It's unbelievable. And I'm not saying women are evil, but I mean, as a guy, we have to protect ourselves. We got our lives to live, right? They've got their problems, right? They got issues they got to deal with. They might feel unsafe on the street at night or something, right? They got issues they got to deal with. We got our issues. Women can be very, very cold and very, very evil, and we have to deal with that, right? So yeah.
It was funny, actually. I on this kind of point right now, it was like, you know, this whole rape culture thing, but no one ever talks about women raping men of that time.
Well, you know, that's a big issue right now. Everybody's talking about that. I think, I don't worry. I don't know. I don't think about that so much. I think we all have different problems. You know what I mean? I don't know if chicks have definitely, like, I woke up and girls have been sucking my dick, and that's technically rape by girls' standards, right? You know, because I didn't say it was okay, because just because I had sex before didn't mean I was ready that time, right? And I remember like waking up and like seeing her do it, and I was like, I don't know, it was a little bit, even though like I went and bragged to my friends afterwards about it, but actually it was a little bit disturbing because, you know, it's kind of like, whoa, she could have done anything, she could have cut it off, right? You know, like fuck,
Yeah.
you know, I was sleeping like a fucking baby, right? So I mean, you know, I did feel like a little bit. I actually did feel a little bit like unusual or insecure, weird about it, you know. But then later, of course I acted like it was nothing and bragged about. But the fact remains that women do stuff like that, you know. But I don't think that's the big thing. I think the main thing is I don't know what's going to happen. I guess the MRAs can work on something like that. But for me, girls got different needs. They got different goals. You got to watch your ass. I don't worry about that kind of stuff. You know, I'm not worried about getting raped. And if some girl, yeah, you know, the worst thing is like when a girl jumps on you and she's like too wild and then she like almost bends your dick in half. That's like, that fucking sucks. That's like my biggest. That hurts like a motherfucker. That's. I just heard today that Dennis Rodman went to the doctor 3 times to have his dick fixed because girls jumped on it and bent it. You know.
Fuck.
That's a serious problem, you know. That's.
Yeah, but that, you know, like you were just saying before, the hypocrisy of like the gynocentric society that we live in today is like, imagine if like you went to the fucking like the cops or something and you were like, fuck, I woke up this morning and this chick was sucking my dick, and like they would just laugh at you.
Oh, they would literally laugh at me. Yeah, they'd be like.
But if it was the opposite, like you know, you went down on the girl and then she was freaked out and ran out of your apartment, went to the cop shop, like you're fucked. You're going to jail.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, I had a girl one time.
Life is over.
Yeah. I had a girl. She flew up to see me, right? And I don't remember what it was, but she was starting to be a cunt, you know. And I was like, you know, she flew up to see me, so she didn't have a place to go, right? And so I was like, and so usually I'd be a little bit flexible because she flew up and spent a bunch of money. 2, she brought some presents. 3, she had no place to go. But this time she was being too cunty, right? So I said I'm taking off, you know. And then she was like, she grabbed my hands and she started like physically holding me like I couldn't move, you know. I was surprised how strong she was actually because she was a little thing. And then so I was like, fuck. So I called the police, and this is in Tokyo, and I said, hey, this girl is, you know, not letting me move, you know. And then the cops started laughing, and they were like, yeah, you know, you guys can work it out. I said, well, can I bring her down to the police station? Like she's sitting there listening to me make this call. She's holding my hands, right? Like, so I can't move by my wrist, right? And yeah, I'm talking on the phone on speakerphone. And then I said, and then he said, oh, there's nothing we can do. And I said, now you're telling me this is like 15 years ago. I said to the cop, because I speak Japanese, right? I'm like, dude, you're telling me that if I hold a girl and don't let her leave my apartment, and I physically stop her from moving, even though she wants to get the fuck out of my apartment, you're not going to come down here and do something about it? And the cop was like, well, that's different. You're a guy. And, you know, that's what he said. You know, it's like, and so I eventually brought her down to the police station, and then the cop said, hey, we can't do anything. And then I said, well, look, let me just go out and get some smokes. And then I left and went to another prefecture for the weekend. And I left her in the police station, you know. And then, and I think the cop knew I was going to do it, but it worked out better because it was a solution. Because I was serious. Like, she was driving me insane. She was being a cunt. And I won't put up with that. So I left, and I had a great weekend with my friend, actually. The only thing is she tried to make me jealous. She called me from the airplane when she flew back home, and she fucked another guy on the airplane. She was trying to make me jealous. She's like, oh, I just had sex with this guy in the bathroom. And then she said, you want to talk to him? And I'm like, oh, it's fine. You know, I don't really want to talk to the guy, but hope you had a good time. You know, see you later. And then And she was pissed.
Oh, that would have gave her the shits, hey?
Well, she was pissed because it didn't work, yeah. But the next time she came, she was a good girl. So, you know, she was hot. She was hot. I let her. She was crazy and hot. You know, like there's the hot crazy scale. This girl was crazy hot, and on the crazy scale. So I kind of forgave her. I wasn't gonna be resentful about it. I let her come back.
They're the ones that are kind of better at fucking anyway. The crazy ones.
Exactly. She was that type. So I figured it's okay. You know, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
You know. And I think one of the things to be in control of your life is just to realize that you're not the man. You know, you're just lucky that you're there. You know, like beggars can't be choosers. We're lucky we're here. The cops are not going to help us. That's just the way it is. Girls can fuck a guy in 2 minutes on an airplane. It's just the way it is. You know, don't cry about it. Just fuck it. Just go on, and there's a lot of cool shit you can do. And one thing that made me feel a lot better is one of my friends is he's one of the top pickup artists, right? And I was talking to him one time, and he said to me something very interesting. He said, you know, you see these girls, we're at this club, right? He's like, you see those girls, they're hot, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, they're definitely hot. Because they were like the hottest girls in the club, right? And he goes, those girls in the club are hot. He says, but no matter how hot they are, if George Clooney comes in this club, George Clooney is 10 times hotter than they are. So the hottest guy absolutely smokes the hottest girls. Because those girls and sluts in the club are nothing compared to George Clooney. And they will be falling all over themselves to fuck George Clooney, right? And so that's the thing about guys is maybe you feel like you don't have any power, but if you keep building yourself up, a cool guy is more hot than a hot girl. Because a hot girl's only hot for a short period of time, like a few years. But a cool guy...
The days are numbered, hey?
The days are numbered no matter how hot she is, and everybody knows that. But a hot guy who's a really cool guy who's kicking ass, that guy's fucking hot, man. I mean, he's smoking hot, you know, and the girls know it too. And the girls will fucking, you know, they'll crawl over broken glass to get to the guy, you know. So never forget that it's not hopeless. You're not a piece of shit. You're not like a second-class citizen, you know. You can be that George Clooney type guy, you know. It's out there.
Yeah.
It's out there.
I think alongside of that too is like from my experience anyway, like now kind of 30, like 31, the difference between say when you were say 20, 21 is that when you've kind of got that level of confidence where like you're not arrogant around women, but you're just comfortable in your own skin. It's weird, man. It's like they fucking know. They know that you don't give a fuck, and they know that you're comfortable in your skin, and that they just kind of, well, from my experience, they're more attracted to that, you know, like they just, because you're not prioritizing them, you know, you're prioritizing your life, like your dreams or whatever the fuck you want to do every day, and it's weird. They just kind of start turning around more and asking you more questions or wanting to know what you're up to every day, like.
Right. But I'm gonna throw a little bit of water on the fire here because the thing is every guy has his kryptonite, right? Like Superman's got the fucking kryptonite. So if a girl is exactly the type of girl that drives me fucking insane, like the hottest type of girl, I'm not gonna describe her, but the type of girl that it's very rare, this type of girl, but it's very difficult for me to be that cool guy in front of her. If she's I mean, like most girls, what you're talking about is totally true. 80-90% of girls, maybe even like close to 98, you know. But there is that one girl is going to be kryptonite, and that's the girl you want, right? So life is unfair, right? Reality is tough, right? So it's true. You will be the cool guy. Girls will be more interested in you. But those girls are not going to be probably the number one hottest girl that you want to fuck too. And I think that there is something valuable in learning how to fuck that girl that you really want to fuck. You know, that really hot girl who makes your fucking legs turn to jelly. I think there is some benefit in learning, you know, improving yourself and being able to get her too. I think there's a real huge benefit to the self-esteem. But let's go on to that. Let's go on to the next question. What was your next one?
Yeah. Fuck. All right. Probably like after all this, because we talked about the debt stuff, we've talked about the career kind of alternatives, motivation. That's the next one. What gets you out of bed? You know, how do you find the extra energy to kind of get to where you want to be in life?
I think it all comes down to the fucking coffee analogy that my mentor Don told me about. Is you know, he said to me, I had a cup of coffee, right, and it was cold, and he said, and I was like filling half the cup up with coffee, and he said, you know, that's not going to be a hot cup of coffee, and I was like, but I thought, oh, it's pretty hot, you know, so I put some coffee in, but it wasn't really a hot cup of coffee, so I poured out half again, and I put another half in, right, but it still wasn't a hot cup of coffee. So he said the only way you get a hot cup of coffee is you pour everything out, you know, clean up the glass, and fucking put a new fucking fresh cup of coffee in, right? So I think a lot of finding what you want and getting the motivation in life is by cleaning everything out. So when you clean shit out of your life, you will be an empty cup. And that's when you start to find things that you actually give a fuck about.
Yeah.
So I think it's about cleaning shit out. It's about saying, you know, I don't care about this. I don't want to go to lunch with these guys anymore. I don't want to go to dinner. I don't like drinking. I don't like spending money on stupid drinks I don't care about, because I could live for a whole day in Thailand on that, you know, for that one drink. So why the fuck would I spend that money on that stupid drink, you know? And then just starting to take control and cut things out. And then what'll happen is you're going to open up a lot of time. And it won't be an exact, you know, easy thing where you're going to immediately find out what you want to do in your life. But when you cut things out and you open things up, that's when you're open to new ideas and new concepts, and you've actively thrown away the old thing. So you don't want to replace it with the same thing just by nature, right? You're like, I'm not into that anymore, you know. So you're not going to do that again. So you're going to be looking for something new. And you're going to be trying something new. And you're going to be thinking about what didn't work with the old thing. And then what options are out there. You could be looking on the internet. You're going to be, and then you'll fill it with something new, right? And that's the key, is like one thing at a time. You're going to be adding things in your life, evaluating them if you should chuck them out. And then filling your life up again. But a lot of it is just cleaning out stuff you don't want to do. If you're not enjoying reading the news anymore, don't read the news. Just fucking do not open a fucking news channel ever, right?
I fucking hate that shit.
Or, you know, whatever it is, like just cut it out, and then let yourself be with yourself. And, you know, you will, like, just go to the fucking beach and lay on the beach and look up at the fucking stars, you know? And then think, like, what the fuck am I going to do, you know? I got an extra, you know, so-and-so hours now. And then just sit there. Just sit there, man. Just look at the fucking stars and think. Maybe take a few notes, you know, enjoy yourself, you know, just give yourself that time. And it's inside of you. See, the good news is what you want to do and what you're capable of doing is inside of you. You don't need anybody else to help you. You don't need somebody to tell you what to do. It's going to come inside you, because you're going to say, you know, I've always liked that. And I heard this guy was doing that. I fucking want to try it, right? You know? Like, I know a guy who's a professional dog walker. He makes like $70,000 a year walking dogs, right? In New York. He's very trustworthy to rich guys with their dogs. And, you know, he's got a fucking good life. And he takes off for like 3 or 4 months a year, comes to Asia, you know, has a good time, goes back. And, you know, they always take him back because he's reliable. And the dog's happy. And he makes sure the dog's like super, you know, if the dog's got an ear infection, you make sure the fucking thing gets taken care of, you know. Rich people care about that, you know. So I think it's opening yourself up, it's studying, and it's letting yourself build a new life with new Lego building blocks from that empty slate. And give yourself all the time you need. Don't fucking rush yourself. It's inside you. You, man. Yeah. It's inside you. There's no one needs to tell you. I mean, you might have people give you ideas and then you try them and they work or whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, You know
Yeah,
enough about life. You know.
yeah,
But you're so busy. You got so much shit in there. You're doing so much shit, and not only that, you feel bad about it because you're like, fuck, I shouldn't be doing all this bullshit. Once you
yeah,
cut it out, you're gonna feel better about yourself, and you'll be laying on the beach with a totally different attitude than you were before, looking up at the stars, laying in the park or whatever. You're gonna be like, yeah, man. Like I know it's inside me what I want to do. I know it's there. You know, like I wonder what it is. Call your brother. Think about it. Make some notes. Enjoy yourself. Go watch some YouTube videos. Think about it. Walk. Walk around. Leave that time open. Walking is a great thing to do. Download a few audiobooks and start walking at night. I do that for like often 4 or 5 hours a night. I'll get an audiobook, get an MP3 player. You can get an MP3 player for like $30 that has like a 16-hour battery, and then just walk around, fucking listen to audiobooks, study, put new shit in your mind.
I think yeah, that sounds fucking good. I think you did a previous episode actually talking about like fuck you money, like
Yeah.
and why it's not a good idea to kind of chase this vision of fuck you money. In saying that, like, is there a certain kind of benchmark that you would, or like a monetary value that you would set as like a goal for to be able to live? Because for me personally, I'm not a materialistic person. I love a couple of things that I have, but I don't need heaps of shit. You know what I mean? I don't want heaps of shit. I'd prefer a minimalistic life because then I don't have all these attachments. So what would be kind of that benchmark financially that you'd want to get to within, say, maybe 3 to 5 years, where you could live a simplistic life but still be able to do, like, still be able to travel and do all the fucking shit you want to do?
Well, I wouldn't even think that far in advance. I mean, once you get overseas, you're going to find ways to make money, Yeah. You're going to find ways to make money. So I would say minimum 10 grand.
Yeah.
In the bank, we got $10,000, and you got 10,000 Australian. You can live for 10,000. You can easily live, like, for example, in Thailand, let's say for 9-10 months easy, right? Even though you're not that experienced, you wouldn't be a problem, right? So that's a long time. That's a long time. Like 9 months, dude. That's a long time, man. Like don't kid yourself. That's a long motherfucking time. So you're gonna have a lot of time to think, right? Like the first month or two, you'll be getting used to the place, and then you'll start to look at people doing stuff, right? And then you'll start to find ideas. You'll be trying things. Things. So it doesn't take that much money. I would say a minimum of $10,000, and then just leave.
Yeah.
And then whatever you do, when you get to the new country, you got to be cheap as fuck in the beginning. You got to be cheap as fuck. You want the cheapest fucking place. You want to eat cheap food. You want to make sure that because you're just getting used to the new country. The biggest danger is when you get to a new country is when you're first there. That's when you get ripped off by the scammers. That's when you get robbed. That's when your bag gets stolen. That's when you pay insane money for things. Is because you're not ready. You're in a weak position. You don't understand the currency. You don't understand the country. You don't understand your options.
It's funny you say that. I remember going like straight to Indonesia surfing, and it's just funny. Straight up at the airport, came in, and he's like, this Indo dude came up, grabbed my bag, and I was like, fuck yeah, like this guy's grabbing my bag, taking it out to the taxi rank, and then straight up, he was hustling me, going, you give me money, and before I knew it, I already offloaded like 20 or $30 to the dude, which would have been a lot for him.
Right.
But I didn't fucking know. I was just like, oh yeah, man, fuck it, like this guy just fucking carried my bag, so I guess I better help him and his family out,
Yeah. You want to avoid all those kind of things because those things add up. And also, often those guys are thieves. So they can steal like your passport and all your money too. You got to
Yeah.
watch your ass with those guys. You don't. It's not just the $30. You do not want these people in your life. Scumbags are
No.
dangerous.
Yeah, it's a, if it was in Australia and I like fucking went from say Sydney to wherever, Gold Coast or something, like if some dude carried my fucking surfboard bag and then hit me up for $30, I would have told him to get fucked.
Yeah, with especially some guy who's like looks like he's smoking crack and he's fucking sitting on the beach. He's
Yeah.
like dirty toes. You don't even want the guy anywhere
Yeah.
near you. That's the thing with scammers. You don't want them anywhere near you. So
Yeah.
take the rough road. Take the tough road. Pack your shit up well. Don't carry a lot of shit. Make sure that you don't have that much stuff. You know, be very cautious. Read before you go. Check everything. Don't spend money. Do not spend money in the new country. Do not, especially the first month. Like
Yeah.
don't be like everybody else. Everybody else, they blow their wad in the first few like days and month. They go get a whore. They fucking get a nice hotel room. They fucking, you know what I mean? They go ride elephants. Don't do any of that. There's gonna be plenty of time to have fun.
Yeah.
You're on a mission. You're like a fucking, you know what I mean? You're like Secret Service. You're like a ranger. You're like a marine on a fucking like a long distance mission, right? You're a sniper. You're coming in. Everybody else, you don't care about them. Like the guys that are running around drunk, being crazy, laughing, just fuck them. You're trying to figure out a new life here. So, just figure out the smart way to do things. Keep everything down low. Be careful. Don't get ripped off. Always watch your stuff. Make sure you're cool. And then, after you get comfortable, then you take a little breath, right? Maybe you go have a cup of coffee, right? You go to Starbucks or something, Because that's like $5, right? In a poor country, that's a lot of money,
Yeah.
$5 is a lot of money in a poor country. But, once you get relaxed, you kind of like, okay, I did a good job. Pat yourself on the back, I did a good job. I fucking was disciplined, man. That guy told me on the fucking podcast, I did it, man. I got here. I got a place for $10 a night. I think it's safe. It's cool. Everybody else got ripped off on this and this and this and this, and I didn't. And then that extra money and that confidence, because you're learning how to be a traveler too. It's not just the money; it's also your self-esteem. Don't
taking care of yourself, eh?
Yeah, you're being a man. You're out there fucking. You're not some fucking woman just running around like a head chicken with her head cut off, throwing money at things and losing their mind and crying all over the place. You're like a fucking Marine. You're just gonna fucking, and then you'll take that as part of your MO, and don't worry what other people think about you. Doesn't even fucking matter. You're never gonna see them again anyway,
Yeah.
And then figure it out. Get a good situation. Like I just got a new apartment that's so fucking dope, dude. It's fucking unfucking believable. And it's the best deal. It's crazy nice Thai apartment. It's huge. It's fucking teak floors. It's like sunny. It's like trees outside. Fucking nice pool. Kick ass. Like there's probably a 400-meter roof. Balcony. I mean, it's fucking so dope and it's so cheap, right? And I only have it because I was disciplined. I waited. It's not easy to find a place like this. This place is like half price of like normal apartments. But I found this one place and they wanted somebody like me for whatever reason. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I waited till I found the deal and I made friends with them, made sure they understood I was a secure, safe guy who's going to pay his bills. And they gave it to me, even though everybody else wanted this apartment. And I'm moving in August 1st. So I took a place that was quite simple for a long time here. Nothing fell in my lap. I was looking around, but nothing really fell in. Finally, something good fell in, and I'm in. And all my friends are jealous. I swear to God, all my friends are coming over. They're trying to get in my building.
Man, I'm coming over. The next.
Oh, dude, it's a balling fucking situation, dude. Balling. Yeah. Compared to what's available.
Like, just even, not that I'm telling other people or trying to tell other people how to live their life, but just what you were saying before with, like, what I got out of that is just, like adapting and having awareness of like what's fucking going on around you. And this goes for like even just younger dudes, like growing up in this kind of society where you don't really know what the fuck is going on. If you just start taking more time to look around and observe how other people are living their lives, and kind of, you'll start to see a lot of the fucking, like, the hiccups, you know what I mean? You'll start to see a lot of the dramas, and if you're aware of those things, then you can start avoiding a lot of those fucking mistakes, you know?
Oh man, start just take yourself seriously, right? And one of the biggest mistakes guys make, the biggest mistakes, is they get a girlfriend when they first get to the new country.
Yeah.
You definitely do not want to do that. You definitely do not. Take your time. If the girls like you in the country that you're in, for whatever reason, they're going to like you next month, and the next month. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's not like, you're not like, this isn't like the one time in your life that the day that you arrived just happened to be the only day that you could fucking fuck a hot girl, It's like, if the girls are all over you, then it's like, just think, okay, this is the way it's going to be here.
Yeah. I think that's what even in the Western world, that's what a lot of maybe young guys or whatever, like middle-aged guys, they kind of cave in, and then they just kind of get into that marriage trap, whereas if they just kind of held out, like, what the fuck is a rush, you know what I mean? Like, if you were going to get married, like, what is a rush? Like, why can't you just wait out an extra 5 or 10 years, like, to see if it will last anyway?
Oh yeah. Oh dude, if I would have gotten married to some of these bitches I was dating when I was like 19 and 20, dude, they were fat back then. I didn't even know they were fat because I never had like a fucking 37 kilogram fucking hottie with a tiny pussy before, so,
Hey, I actually don't mind a curvier chick, you know what I mean?
It's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying don't say fat girls. I don't care about that, but it's just funny, everyone's got their
right, exactly.
What they like, eh?
Yeah, and the thing is like, once you know what that is, right? And keep in mind that it might change. Like, if you come to Asia, it might change. It might change. Yeah. There's a good chance it'll change.
Convert.
All right. Well, is there anything else?
No, man. That was good. It was very insightful, and kind of feel. Yeah, I'll kind of re-listen to this episode and write down a couple of those notes, and loving it. Thanks for your help,
dude. Man, your life until now and your life from now are going to be different because you're making decisions and you're seeing things and asking the right questions, and you're going to end up living the life that you want to live. I can tell. And then you're going to be like, fuck, why wasn't I doing that before? Like, what the fuck was I afraid of? It's like,
I think that's the biggest transition too, is kind of it is for any younger guys hitting the age of kind of 30, you're going through a bit of a turbulent time where you've grown up with your mates for like the last fucking 10, 20 years or more, and you're watching all your friends disappear. They're all getting married, they're all having kids, and it will, in a lot of ways, it could be a very lonely point in your life, but don't be afraid to kind of figure it out for yourself and push forward. And if you don't want to get married, if you're not having kids, like, just fucking do your thing,
Yeah. That's the thing, is it's only going to get more lonely if you stay there, because every married guy, they just look at a single guy as like, either they're jealous of you, or they're like I have some friends where they get all excited about seeing me, right? And so like once a year they have a holiday, right? And they're like, man, let's hang out, let's go and fucking have fun, and let's do this. And it's like, at first I used to be excited about it, but the more I thought about it, I don't like it, because it's like they don't really think about me. Like
No,
I'm
that's
free.
right.
I'm free every day, right? You know what I mean? I'm doing this every day. I'm living my life every fucking day. And then for
Yeah,
them to think that I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna want to do like they're gonna want to do different things than a guy who's free every day, right? They're gonna have different priorities, right? They want to
yeah,
rush around. They want to do all these exciting things. Like, you know, for me, like I have all this time, so I I I I just take it differently. It's like if you live on the beach or if you go to the beach once a year, it's very different, right? You know, so I think that a lot of guys that are married, even if they like you and they call you, you'll start to feel lonely as you get
yeah,
older because you'll realize they don't really care about you. They're just seeing you as like a single guy and like, let's do single. They kind of want to have it all. They got their kids, they got their wife, and then they also want to have like cool single guy stuff, and that's what they see you as, right? You know,
yeah,
and that's fine and everything. I mean, that's like a nice thing. I'm not saying it's bad, but I just realized over the years that I want more. Like, I want cool friends who are always there,
yeah,
and
big time.
yeah, I want friends that are fucking. We're all figuring shit out together, right? We're like, I got a friend right here. He's like, he's. I taught him how to sell real estate. He's kicking ass. He's gonna start a property management company. He's networking with all these like rich people. He's like kicking ass, you know. It's like I think that's fucking great, you know, because he waited. Like, you know, I knew the guy for like 9 years, you know, and it took him some time to get going. But man, he's really going. You know, it's like it's so fucking cool. You know,
Yeah,
it means a lot, you know, to see a guy really get going, to really kick ass. You know, for me, I love it. I'm not the least bit jealous, man. I fucking love it. I love it when my friends succeed.
yeah. I've never really understood that. You know, like I'm definitely the same way. Like I get fucking inspired by other people that are doing cool shit. You know, like why wouldn't you get inspired? You know,
Well, I mean,
that motivates me.
yeah, there can be a human nature thing come up, but you know, it's like fuck that.
Yeah.
No way. All right, I keep getting ready to cough here for some reason, so I'm gonna cut you off here.
Yeah, too easy.
Harry, man, thanks, man. It's awesome, dude. Thanks for calling.
No worries, man. Thank you very much for your time. And tune in, everyone. This is some fucking good quality MGTOW content, and fucking have fun. Enjoy the journey.
You cannot be a fucking happy MGTOW working for a cunt fucking boss.
No, fuck that.
That I don't see how that can happen. But all right, guys, thanks for listening. Ronin Man's choking here. I don't know why, coughing. But have a great night. Thanks for fucking listening. And let's hear some great comments, questions, anything, me, Harry, whatever. All right, guys, take it easy. Let's see. Let me find the button here. Just a second here.